and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
I'm Chris.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Did everybody have a great Halloween?
No. I mean, I'm not going to play your game.
Okay,
Your
fine.
liar's game.
Mark's doing the future past again.
It is the 25th of October.
Christopher, how was your
It was
Halloween?
amazing.
Did you go trick-or-treating?
No, I spent the night at my sister's.
Did you kill somebody?
No.
You didn't...
You don't know yet.
Yeah,
Technically, you don't know.
Exactly.
I'm trying to play Mark's game, see where it goes with
Let's
us.
see what happens. Yeah.
It's like a bad version of Scream. Where
Yeah.
I'm in the house. So I had an interesting encounter with I think it was a mule. I'm pretty sure.
Jesus Christ, where's this going?
Okay, so we're at it's called a Penny's Pumpkin Patch. It's pretty dope, actually. It's around here. Bring the kids. They would fucking love it. It's
Sure.
super cool.
Bring
All
the
kinds of cool
patch.
shit.
Kids.
When do they suck? Never.
Never. And this one has animals there.
All the better.
My son tried to feed a turkey some corn, and the turkey bit his hand. And
Of
I'm like,
course.
buddy, it has a weapon for a face. You can't feed that thing. You can't do
American
that.
turkey.
An American turkey.
That's
yes.
right.
Yes, our bird. So I didn't know that whether this thing was a mule or a donkey, that they make ungodly fucking noises. Like, I don't know if it was anger, if it was resentment, if it was proud, or if it was broken.
If it was proud.
I don't know what this thing did, but it looked at me and made this awful... That scared the children, and it scared me, and I was the only adult in the area, and I didn't know what to do. I'm not used to animals making noises, and I had I just gave it all of the feed. I'm like, take it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry for your suffering. This is my fault, probably. Take it.
I've seen like movies and cartoons. I know the hee-haws and the whatever sundry sounds they make. What was this that had you so fucking paralyzed with horror?
It was like a weird scream.
Yeah, they kind of scream yell.
But it was so... I literally was like, cryptid. I'm like, it's a Sasquatch,
Wow.
Mothman,
Like, no, it's a donkey.
skateboard fucking lizard man. It was something. This thing
Skateboard
was
lizard
so
man.
goddamn loud, it scared the ever-living fuck out of me. Scariest thing to happen to me all Halloween season.
So far.
So far.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have one more day before... Well, no, we don't. Halloween's over.
Dude, you're fucking... Oh, my God.
Yeah, I played Chris's game and I lost it.
You can't.
I tried.
We can be real with our listeners. We've got well nigh a week of horror movies and fucking decorations and all the good shit.
We do.
Yeah.
It's true.
I am in no rush to let Halloween go by yet. I'm very excited.
Patreon's the thing that we offer, Robert.
Fuck yeah, it is.
And we
And
have
you know
some
who we
shout-outs.
offer it to?
Who's that?
A, anyone who wants it.
Okay.
B, this group specifically who took us up on this excellent offer,
Excellent.
Well, yeah.
including Justin Kahn,
Thank you, Justin.
Christian Canello,
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
Chase Walker.
Chase Walker actually is an author, and you can check his work out at authorchasewalker.com.
Well done.
That's a great URL.
It
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
Fucking
is.
A. Way to go.
Cinder Wolf.
Yeah, Cinder Wolf.
Totally would have probably fucking paid to see them in like 88.
Oh, for sure.
Jeannie Engelbrecht.
Yeah, thank you, Jeannie.
John Kaiser.
Hell yeah, John.
Arvo Xylo.
Yeah, I love that.
That's really awesome.
Fuck yeah.
It reminds me of, what was his name? Zandor Vorkov or Vandor Zorkov, whatever. Some weird pseudonym for the guy that played Dracula in the mid-70s Al Adamson anti-fucking classic Frankenstein versus Dracula.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
It was fucking terrible. I think John Bloom played the monster, but I think it was Zandor Vorkov. And I think Forey Ackerman named him. Either way.
Nice.
Arvo Xylo, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Rob Veach.
Thank you, Rob.
Logan Trailer.
Yeah, Logan.
Jackie Price.
Oh, yeah, Jackie.
Bob Lovecraft.
I really want that to be the guy's last name.
I hope it is.
Like, I want to go to work and be like, hey, fucking Bobby Lovecraft, what's up?
It's
And he's
not
just
like a made-up name. I
No,
mean, somebody's
I know.
got it somewhere.
No, right.
I'm hoping it's his.
Unless HP was like the last of his line. I know he lived with his aunts and was sort of a weirdo and had like 3 kinds of tuberculosis and I don't know, was claimed by the elder gods at some point in his fucking 30s or 40s.
Odd dude. Yeah,
I
for
don't know
sure.
much about him. Lanky as fuck.
Yep.
Really. He's more of an idea than a human being to me.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, I think when you dig into the person, you're like, this sucks. But what are you going to do?
You know, don't meet your heroes, even the dead ones.
Exactly.
Pages Planties.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much.
Jonathan Chazar.
Nice. Thank you, Jonathan. Also, Jonathan, thank you for giving us the correct pronunciation of your name. That is much appreciated.
Oh, yeah. I would have gone like Casa Cesar.
Yeah.
I would have gone way fucking deep on that. So
Totally.
thank you, Chazar.
And we have a correction, Robert, real quick here.
Oh, yeah, we do. All right. So we have Christopher Balzac Pavisi. I probably said some fucked up shit like Pavesi or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how I fucked it up, but it's Pavesi. So Christopher Balzac Pavesi, thank you for the second shot, and thank you again for being a patron.
Yes, totally. And again, that is at patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. Be sure to check that out. Thank you to everybody over there that supports us this week. Oh, Rob, we're doing it.
I'm excited about this one.
In. We had some paranormal stuff there for, Halloween, and now we're just kind of keeping that Halloween vibe, sort of, and we're going to aliens.
Well,
so
all right.
I think that's going to fucking work out for
that was
us.
a desperate
Totally.
bid to keep it. But technically, I suppose everything we do is the Halloween vibe. Monsters, aliens, specters, Jeffs, whatever the fuck we're doing is paranormally, ergo Halloweenish.
Dude, I got yelled at by a donkey, dude. I'm still scared.
You got shrieked at.
I'm scared right now.
By a cryptid concealed in donkey's flesh.
I just gave it all the food. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Donkey flesh.
Donkey
He
flesh.
probably was mad because he wanted the food, and you did the right thing.
It worked. I obeyed.
Did all the kids look at you like you were a hero?
No, they all ran.
Of course they did.
And I was like, I was going to go
They
with
all
them. And then I'm
ran.
like, I can't run anywhere. Like, it's muddy.
I'm a man. This is a donkey.
It was really.
It ends here.
No, the donkey won, or the mule. I didn't know what it was. It was very stout and
How
very
do you know?
strong.
Maybe it was a burro.
Could have been anything.
Could have been anything.
Could have been anything.
That's the real answer. Could have been a capybara.
Wow.
Could have been a wombat.
Could have been a snail.
We just don't know.
Could have been
no
a table.
Could have been a table.
Could have been clouds.
This week we are diving into the wild world of Harrison Bailey, Part 1.
Ooh, no.
Oh, so we got a two-parter happening here, possibly a three-parter?
Possibly. I'm going to try. I'm striving for 2.
All right, we'll see what happens. Let's get started with in the late summer of 1951. An industrious Indiana steelworker braved the elements in a show of support for his favorite baseball team when he had a series of encounters with an inexplicable Oz-like whirlwind and a pair of tiny green helmeted UFO occupants. That would forever change the course of his life in what is one of the least discussed yet most astonishing alien assaults on record.
Big words.
Assault.
Lots of words.
Well, I don't mean big words in terms of vocabulary. I mean, that's an audacious statement.
Right.
That's how I meant it.
Yes.
And it doesn't exactly live up to it in the first part. That's the build. For all you fuckers out there that like, the Haunting of Hill House and like the slow builds, this isn't it, but it's sort of it in that it's going to get there. We're going to set the tone. But what astonishes me about this case, it's sometimes known as the Orland Park incident or things like that, is that it has so many moving parts. It gets weirder and weirder actually as the years go by. It is ostensibly an extraterrestrial interaction, but it goes to places that are truly fucking unique. And I've been very excited to do this for multiple reasons. One, it eventually involves frog-like creatures, which fucking is something we love. And two, just because it's just so goddamn weird, and that's the stuff we love.
There it is.
So without the ado, social caseworker and therapist come author and researcher Anne Druffel had been fascinated by the paranormal in general and the UFO phenomenon in particular since her childhood when she had a chance sighting of multiple anomalous aerial objects in 1945. Not long after the first atomic bomb test, but before the cataclysmic bombing of Hiroshima. So a lot of people say that's what triggered alien/interdimensional interest in our world.
Yeah, it's when they came through, dude.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's when she saw it. This seemingly random event would prove to be one of the most pivotal in her young life. Now the author of 5 books, 2 columns, and over 200 articles, prolific paranormal investigator Druffel explained her compulsion to share her explorations into the unknown. Quote, I write because I have researched Earth mysteries, UFOs, sacred sites, psychic phenomena since 1957, and I feel the need to share with others what I have been able to learn, my hypotheses and evidence. End quote. Noble though that endeavor is, and as open-minded as Druffel surely was, there could have been little to prepare the investigative journalist for her interview with a former steel mill worker and entrepreneur turned Baptist reverend named Harrison E. Bailey, and the strange string of close encounters this man of the cloth claimed to have had with the unknown beginning in the early 1950s. In a desperate bid to find out if there were others who'd had similar experiences to his own, on April 24, 1975, Reverend Bailey took out an ad in the Los Angeles Times asking anyone who might have any knowledge regarding quote-unquote flying saucer disease,
It's the worst.
Man.
to come forward.
Okay.
And this is also fucking the LA Times in fucking 1975.
Yeah, you can just, if you got money, man, you can just take ads out.
Oh, well, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But think of the fucking caliber of responses you're going to get. Obviously, way pre-internet. The only way strangers interact is through fucking, I guess, I saw you at the fucking Trader Joe's last fucking week. You had a purple hair and a halter top, and I really think it could be love, or whatever the fuck people did. And now you've got this fucking preacher basically saying, if you got the flying saucer disease,
Come see me.
let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
LA
Well,
Times, 1975. It must have been like a disco fiasco.
Oh, man.
I fucking love it.
That's
That
awesome.
has nothing to do with what's going on, but that's what he did.
It's pretty cool.
The associate minister, now residing in Pasadena, California, was invited onto a local television program, and that's when Ann Druffel, as both a representative of MUFON and QFOS, that's Mutual UFO Network and the Center for UFO Studies, initiated an inquiry into the matter. Although there's no way Druffel could have realized it at the time, this intrepid writer, researcher, and investigator was about to embark on a 4-year fact-finding odyssey chronicling one of the most gonzo strings of paranormal events ever recorded. Bailey's initial, and to this day perplexing brush with the bizarre, occurred on the morning of September 24th, 1951. We will now refer to the first-class 2-part report filed by Druffel and published in the April and May 1978 issues of the now legendary Fate magazine regarding the then youthful Bailey's harrowing experience with an array of enigmatic entities from parts unknown, and, as a black man in early 1950s America, one very close call with a terrible menace that is always hailed far too close to home. Druffel's writing and coverage of the story is impeccable, though sadly lacking in alliteration. No one's perfect. So instead of merely referring to her research, let's let her speak in her own words. So at this point, I'm going to just jump right to the article. It's not something I usually do, but it's well written, and it's going to help us just cut out the middleman and jump to the chase.
Yeah, for sure.
So the article is titled Harrison Bailey and the Flying Saucer Disease. Obviously, we know its emphasis, by Ann Druffel. Part 1. In the woods near an Illinois town, he encountered the UFO and its occupants, and his life was never the same again. That's a little headliner there. At 6 o'clock on the morning of September 24th, 1951, 24-year-old Harrison E. Bailey was hiking from Chicago along State Highway 7 toward Joliet, Illinois. A healthy, energetic man, he was engaged in the activity he liked best, walking. He had no way of knowing that by 4:30 that afternoon, his entire life would be changed forever. An encounter with the unknown, with 3 types of non-human beings and an alien craft, an event perhaps unprecedented in UFO history, would affect his body, his mind, and his attitude toward life.
It's like a whole makeover, dude.
Yeah,
no
that's,
doubt.
I mean, what didn't happen right here.
Yeah, really, though.
Your day starts off one way. You think you're going to the pumpkin patch. Next thing you know, fucking donkey screams at you. You're scared for the rest of the week. Kind of what this guy did.
100%. Yeah,
I feel this guy's pain.
completely analogous.
Totally.
3 years before, Bailey had invented an ingenious advertising gimmick, a huge 5-foot tractor tire which he had painted green and in the center of which he put signs promoting various products and public events. Over the years, motion picture theaters, clothing stores, soft drink companies, and various other organizations in and around Gary, Indiana, his hometown, had hired him to advertise their products in this fashion. He accepted these jobs during vacations and holidays, for he worked full-time in the Gary steel mills.
It's a goddamn good idea.
Hard-working
All right,
motherfucker.
all right.
Holy shit. Just like, hey, there's a tire, let's make a sign out of it.
Exactly.
And we're, as artists and graphic designers, fuck yeah, make a sign out of it.
And it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Spin it down the highway. People
you
are going
go.
to see it.
Right.
It's constantly... I mean, he might have pioneered that whole, poor kid that has to dance on the corner for minimum wage with a
Yeah,
Little
sure.
Caesar sign shtick.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a thing for a while, wasn't it?
It might still be.
But yeah,
I don't
they
know.
still do that.
Oh, do they?
You haven't seen the samurai out there juggling signs?
No. Oh, man, now I got to... All right. Shit, I have to go buy a Little Caesars.
A
Fuck.
pioneer. On this September day, however, he was walking his tire as a labor of love. The Great Green Wheel wore a sign, quote, "Let's come through in 52 St. Louis Browns," end quote. He was advertising his favorite baseball team as a morale-building gesture. I didn't even know the Browns was a baseball team in the 50s. So,
I didn't either.
I mean, who
no.
knows? I mean, I know the Giants started off in New York and are still a baseball team in San Francisco. I know there's crossover names. I don't know.
The Dodgers changed cities a bunch of times.
Yeah, that was New York to Brooklyn Dodgers, I think, to L.A.
Yep.
So, so that shit happens. But anyway, it was a baseball team, and he loved them. He had started walking from Gary on September 23rd and planned to finish on September 26th with a triumphant arrival in St. Louis, where Bill Veeck, owner of the Browns, would greet him.
That's dope.
You get to meet the fucking owner of the team?
Perfect.
For any fan. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Let's do it.
He had stayed in a Chicago hotel the night before, and now after an early start was strolling along the little-traveled highway. Ahead lay a stretch of woods which Bailey calculated he could traverse in half an hour or so. The shortcut in the woods. Have you never read a fairy tale? Do you not know I mean, we've all taken shortcuts. And I have kicked things on said shortcuts. I have kicked the fuck out of many things.
Dude, stay on the road.
It's going to end up being your death, dude. Stop
What
kicking
if
shit.
American Werewolf in London taught us anything?
That's the fucking deal.
Yeah.
Don't kick a wolfman. Stay on the fucking path.
Everything you kick is going to be a werewolf, and you're going to die.
Exactly.
That's so true.
That's why I don't kick shit.
All right, I'm learning. I'm not really learning.
No, I'm still kicking it. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, fuck yeah. In those woods, this ambitious young black man would come face to face with a mystery which remains unsolved to this day. Bailey had taken long walks before with his 150-pound advertising tire.
That's a fucking workout, dude.
Yeah.
You're just pushing that bastard.
Mile after mile. He had long ago perfected an easy stride, a rhythmic pushing to drive the device ahead of him. He was wearing green overalls, green shoes and socks, and carried a green backpack. Large goggles protected his face, and heavy gloves covered his hands. He's got a whole outfit to go with it.
Okay.
Efficient, protective, and yet still, I don't know, performance-oriented.
Yeah, shit. This dude was into like CrossFit before anybody.
Yeah, he was doing it.
He should have just patented CrossFit and fucking, there you
Should
go.
have patented everything.
Yeah, shit.
As Bailey drew near the small forest several miles southwest of Orland Park, Illinois, he suddenly felt a cramping, burning sensation on the back of his neck. He turned around without breaking stride and observed what he assumed to be a whirlwind in the sky in back of him. The phenomenon was gray and rotating, large at the top and small at the bottom. It was unlike any other whirlwind Bailey had ever seen. But because he was used to seeing strange new sights during his walks, he did not spend much time trying to figure it out. Fuck that. I see even a mini cyclone, the tiniest tornado.
Yeah, look, if there's a dust devil that's like my height, like
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
Oh my
Dude,
God, I
you
couldn't
guys
even
know.
imagine.
You guys would stand your ground and kick it and be like, I don't care. And you'd kick
don't
it.
You
kick
can't kick a dust
And then a
devil.
werewolf would come out and bite you.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you both become Volves.
Everyone, oh Jesus Christ.
You want to become a Volve? That's how you become a Volve.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
I
you're
would have
talking
hidden in the
about.
tire. I would have crammed my fat ass into that 5-foot fucking magnificent specimen of
Just
tornado fighting glory.
spin
And
your
if
ass.
it didn't protect me, it would have fucking sent me flying to my destination.
Or maybe if you roll the tire
Actually-
into it, then it would disrupt the swirling.
It depends on how
yeah.
big it is. That's the thing.
It doesn't say,
If
I
it is
know.
7.5 feet,
They say whirlwind, so
a
I'm assuming...
5-foot, 150-pound tractor tire might fuck it up.
I think so.
But then again, we also don't know how high it is. Is
Just-
it like 30 feet in the air? Is it cruising the road right behind him? Because if it's literally like 8 feet behind you and fucking 12 feet tall, and you know what, you're awesome, fucking Harrison Bailey, and you don't give a fuck about anything but the Browns and walking.
I feel like if it's
You're
taller than me, I personally would just call it a tornado, even though it didn't hit the sky.
It kind of has to
Right?
at that point. Yeah.
If it's like a 6'1" dust
If
devil,
it's equal
you're
to
like,
me, I'm
tornado.
like, maybe I can take it. But
Oh, man.
if it's like 7 feet and taller than me, I'm like, fucking NATO.
Do you have one of your edge weapons on you by any chance? You're gonna
Yeah,
attack
one
it?
of my new blades.
Yeah, Chris presented me with one of his new edge weapons out of nowhere.
Edge weapons.
Yeah.
It was pretty astounding. Yeah.
Right on.
There you go.
Is it a bat lift?
It's slightly Klingon looking. It's
It
got
is,
weird
for
shapes and
sure.
holes in it
When
for
you
no
call it
apparent
an edge
reason.
weapon, that's the only thing that comes to mind for me.
It's pretty fucking.
Because
gnarly.
otherwise, I'd pretty much call it a knife.
Do not try to break into Chris's house.
I never do.
As a disclaimer
He
to
does all the
anybody.
In fact, I feel like I'm often invited there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you go there uninvited, there's so many stabbings that are going to happen.
Oh, boysies.
God.
All right, so back to fucking dust devil shit. We've all seen like the spinning swirl of like autumnal leaves and a little bit of dust. And the dust
Right.
is the only thing that makes it show, really. Like, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen a proper spinning mini NATO? Because I never have. I
No.
mean, I've seen the results of it, like the spinning of fucking like clipped grass and leaves, but I don't know what I'd do if I saw a gray swirling fucking,
Yeah.
it
It looks
tiny,
like a
tiny cyclone.
baby tornado, right?
Baby NATO, yeah.
I mean, just
I don't know.
find shelter.
But we know what fucking Harrison did. Nothing. Because he gives no fucks.
He can't have the time.
He's a
Good for
hard
him.
man.
Yeah.
He's Idris Elba.
I think I was picturing.
Well,
as a matter of
I mean,
right.
when we cast the movie,
there you go. It's
clearly
him.
we know what's
It's-
happening
It's
here.
our buddy Idris.
Oh, my God. He continued straight ahead, grateful that the spasm in his neck had eased. That's all he gives a fuck. Neck pains. Tornadoes take care of themselves. His only thought now was to get to Joliet before sunset, since he planned to spend the night there and continue to St. Louis the next day. He had no time to stop and gawk. He still had about 25 fucking miles to go to Joliet. I added the F word. A quick glance at the sun told him that it was about 11 o'clock a.m. Bailey's next conscious memory is of standing in the wooded area, staring at a huge silvery gray object across the road on the edge of a meadow. That is never a good sign. Whenever you have to write or tell someone,
No.
so my next conscious memory,
Not good.
that's fucked.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is alien shit, so we all know what the fuck's going on. But in life in general, I'm looking at a tornado. I got a little neck crick. I'm trying to get there. I want to meet Bill Veek. He owns the Browns. I'm excited. And then my next conscious memory.
Tornadoes and Starman.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No.
Jeez
Well, no,
Louise.
Starman's dope, but
Well, I mean, if it's Jeff Bridges and he looks like a cute little bird that's just trying to fall in love, who can blame him?
yeah, from the Nintendo wrestling game. Yeah,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I love that Starman.
It took me a second.
Yeah, no, I'm going John Carpenter, but thank you.
No, I was
Thank you,
there.
buddy.
I was there.
All right. So, side of the meadow, silvery gray. Its rounded shape reminded him of a water tank, although it was more oval than cylindrical, kind of like the Lonnie Zamora thing, at least how I remember it
Oh,
being
yeah.
described. It was much larger than an automobile. Puzzled and curious, he broke stride and brought his huge green tire to a rolling halt. As he observed the strange object more closely, part of its surface silently slid back to reveal a sort of door or window in its side. Bailey was less than 100 feet from the object, and he saw two strange-looking men come up to its window. They stood side by side, staring back at him. Bailey realized this was something about which he knew nothing. The men's faces were hidden behind huge, green-tinted face shields, somewhat like what welders wear. Behind the transparent material of the shields, the men's faces seemed oddly distorted.
Uh-oh.
Confused and a little frightened, he concluded that the object must be an aircraft of some kind because it had no wheels or other means of ground travel. Although it had no wings, props, tails, or exterior engines either, he intuitively linked it to the gray rotating whirlwind he had seen a little earlier. He felt the same prickling spasms, now intensified and generalized, and his entire body seemed to be vibrating.
Oh, shit.
You ever had that feeling? I mean, at concerts and stuff, I guess, that deep bass, but that kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like a hint of it during earthquakes sometimes. Not that we get them very often up here at all, but I have vague recollections of being young and feeling a tremble that seemed to be coming from my body, but I couldn't quite fucking place.
I've never been awake for one.
But it's just an odd fucking thing.
I think I've either been.
And then I was half asleep and went back to sleep. Like it didn't
Yeah.
make a mark on me.
Yeah, I think maybe I would just like before I black out drunk, I get that one like it's my body trying to die. It's like sorry.
So that's when
Oh
you
my
get
God, all right.
vibro body.
Sorry, you did too much, buddy. Goodbye.
Oh, okay. He stood transfixed on the road, gazing in perplexity at the ship and wondering where it came from. Perhaps he speculated the occupants were Russian spies connected in some way with the war then raging in Korea.
Good
That's
speculation.
a go-to. 51.
Yeah. Fuck.
In that case, he didn't want to have anything to do with them. Or maybe the silvery disc was one of those quote-unquote flying saucers people were seeing. If it was, he had even more reason not to stay around. He remembered reading a column by Walter Winchell telling of the ridicule heaped upon witnesses who tried to report these flying objects. Some things never change. Suddenly, one of the men spoke. "Where are you from?" he asked. The question was phrased in unaccented English. "Gary, Indiana," Bailey replied. "Where are you going?" "St. Louis, Missouri," Bailey said. He didn't bother to shout, figuring that if he could hear the men, they could hear him. Russian spies or men from space, it seemed hardly a significant or memorable conversation, and Bailey was itching to be on his way. The thing that intrigues me, because it's never said explicitly, but implied that he didn't feel like he had to shout because he could hear them clearly, even though they were over 100 feet away,
Right.
is telepathic communication.
Yeah.
Rather than... and plus their faces were kind of compressed and concealed behind green tinted glass plates or whatever
Yeah,
the
man.
material was.
You're fucking speaking in your mind, dude.
I feel like
I think that's probably what's going on, because otherwise a normal tone of voice heard in your ear from 100 feet away.
Yeah, probably not.
I know it's not an impossible distance to hear over, but
I mean, I'm kind of deaf though, so I can't hear shit.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard. Like, none of us has ever heard anything telepathically.
Yeah.
I would assume you would know the difference.
You might not know the difference.
I mean,
If you no, listen. If you can't see their faces really moving because of the distance,
Right.
and you hear a voice, and you naturally assume it has to come from one of those two guys,
yeah.
maybe you just assume it's carrying over. I mean, maybe telepathic voices vibrate the fucking bones in your ears just the way sound does.
Oh, like yeah, like those
I don't know.
headphones that people got where they vibrate the fucking your,
well, then maybe
your
it's
bones
not
or whatever.
really actually telepathic. It's just sonic, but a different way.
Oh, I
If
like
it's still
it.
vibrating your bones, that's how you hear.
Well, maybe it's telesonic.
Chris. Oh,
or sonic tele,
yeah, maybe it's a new way
or Sonic the Hedgehog,
Thank you, Mark.
to hear sound.
or it's ham, a ham sandwich.
Yeah, fucking ham sandwiches for everybody.
I'm just saying a lot of fucking alien interactions involve fucking telepathic communication, and I'm suggesting maybe that's happening here, but fucking skeptoid galore has got to give me a raft of shit for no good reason.
I just
Fine.
Look, dude,
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
there. They're talking to you through your fucking mind holes. You don't even know what's going on. All of a sudden, they're in your head, and they're like, "Where are you going?" And no, my response would be, "Rob, fuck," and that'd be it. I'd be out of there.
God damn it.
I'm not a brave
Okay.
man. I'm not a brave man.
Thank you for
I
taking
can't
my
be.
side, Mark.
I can't be a brave man.
well, yeah. If you saw just a donkey in the road, you'd run.
Fuck yeah! At this point, I had no choice. It made a move, and I was like, "I'm sorry. I apologize for the entire human race in this play. I had no clue."
Well, after watching Doom Patrol, I think we're all cautious.
We have to be.
Have to be.
We really do.
Okay, so telepathic or fucking not. 100 feet apart, conversation, not very significant. The men looked at each other as if conversing among themselves or preparing other questions, but Bailey had lost interest in them.
That's always like, "Oh fuck these
That's
guys."
fucking Bailey's way. He doesn't give a fuck.
Get the fuck out of here.
The paralysis seemed gone now, and he started rolling his wheel again, headed southwest toward Joliet. He glanced back once toward the strange ship. It was still resting silently in the meadow. Bailey walked on. He had gone only a short distance before painful cramping sensations afflicted his shoulders, arms, legs, and abdomen. Coupled with these unfamiliar spasms was a deep fatigue such as he had never felt before. On all of his walking tours, some lasting several days and always comprising hours of steady walking, he had never experienced exhaustion like this. As he emerged from the woods, he noted with dismay that the sky, which had been blue with a few fluffy white clouds, was now gray and foreboding. As he stepped from beneath the canopy of trees, rain was falling. Strangely, the morning was gone. A glance toward the west, toward a sun barely detectable behind thick clouds, informed him that it was now late afternoon. Now later on, Ann Truffle and he will go over maps and do stuff. We're going to talk about this in the next part a little more extensively, or maybe even the end of this one. And they would come to the conclusion that he had lost approximately 6 hours
Oh wow.
during the shortcut in the woods.
Huh.
That seemed to be like maybe a 15-minute walk with a 5-minute interlude with these fucking dudes in the cylinder.
No shit.
The old missing time gambit.
All right.
Bailey was too ill and too tired to worry about what had happened to the time. His only concern was how he would be able to travel the 25 miles of muddy highway and arrive at Joliet before dark. It was impossible, he realized. Still he trudged on, rolling his tire. His cramped legs and arms cried out for relief. Late that evening, he reached a small railroad town northeast of Joliet. There were no hotels to put up a tired traveler, but a friendly station master permitted him to sleep warm and dry inside the red-painted depot. He parked his tire outside. As he tried to catch a few hours' sleep, he heard voices outside asking if anyone had seen the flying saucer. And then laughter. Sleepily, he wondered if they were joking about his huge green wheel. It did not occur to him that they might have been discussing the same odd craft he had encountered that day. He slept fitfully. That's interesting.
Yeah. You'd think you would go right to, I literally saw a UFO.
And it was, you know, nearly ubiquitously called flying saucers back then, regardless of the shape.
Totally. Okay, weird.
The next morning, Bailey thanked the station master for his kindness and continued on his way. He felt somewhat better. The extreme fatigue and cramps of the previous evening had eased, but Bailey still did not feel his usual exuberant self. Nevertheless, he resumed his journey, rolling his advertising tire all the while. As Bailey continued on toward the city of Joliet, he suddenly became aware that numerous people were watching him. He was used to having small children follow him, running along, grinning and enjoying the swish of the great wheel. But these rural folk were muttering, and as Bailey approached, some lined up across the road to block his path. Bailey stopped and considered his situation, which did not look good. These people were Caucasians and looked as though they had something on their minds. A lone black man would be helpless against them if they tried anything. One of the men barked, "Hey, you." Bailey waited, his gloved hands resting on the wheel. "Did we see you come out of a flying saucer yesterday?" What a fucking question.
Holy shit, yeah,
Okay.
Jesus.
The blunt question shocked Bailey. If the tone in which it had been spoken had not been so serious, Bailey might have laughed in relief. He was used to being called a flying saucer man in Gary because of the similarity of his huge wheel to a spinning saucer. He replied, "No, sir. I'm not from any flying saucer." He hurriedly showed his identification, including some newspaper clippings about his advertising wheel. The townspeople listened sullenly, not yet convinced. "Take off your shoes," another man demanded roughly. Bailey removed his green shoes and socks, his fingers shaking with anxiety and returning fatigue. As he uncovered his feet, the men closest to him broke into relieved grins. "Hey," they called out to others in the crowd. "This fella ain't out of a flying saucer. He's black." Bailey breathed a sigh of relief as the men handed back his credentials and murmured an apology or two. He put on his shoes and socks and continued on his way. He made it to Joliet that evening and from there to St. Louis the next day. How fucking terrifying is that?
What the fuck, man?
So okay, so they couldn't tell that he was an African American. All they saw was just because everything was covered.
Yeah, but not everything.
No,
He's
yeah,
wearing
not everything.
goggles.
Yeah.
He's wearing green overalls and green shoes and a green backpack. So here's the thing. It's always going to remain kind of a mystery. Besides the fact that it's utterly terrifying. It's 1951. You're a lone black man, and there's a group of white people, and literally they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, it's not good.
Get carte blanche, and it's a fucking nightmare. So I can't understand, but I can imagine how fucking terrifying that must be. But when they say he came out of a flying saucer, no matter how dusty his face might be from the winds or whatever, you can tell it's a human being, and I'm assuming you can tell it's a black man. But with the missing time and other people claiming to have seen a flying saucer,
oh yeah,
there is some speculation, and there's more information to indicate that he might well have been that he was inside of this vehicle.
Oh,
at least
interesting.
according to what's going to come out later, and that maybe somebody witnessed him walking out and was, in kind of a classic Twilight Zone way, even though this is pre-Twilight Zone in terms of a pop culture phenomenon or a show, that they might have assumed that they were actually accosting an alien. The only relief is when they found out he was a person, they didn't just become more belligerent and angry that they got duped or whatever and do something
Yeah, they're just like
hyper violent and asinine.
Sorry, bye.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're lucky he even got a muttered apology back then.
Yeah,
but
Jesus
still,
Christ, I know.
It just,
Yeah, Jesus, that's fucking terrifying.
and in a lot of ways, probably the scariest thing that happened, as terrifying as some of the things that are about to happen and that he's going to recall, Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
Yeah, fuck.
Through subsequent years, Bailey continued his walking tours, advertising various products and productions and gaining considerable newspaper publicity. In 1957, he outfitted his tire with lights and more than once was reported as a flying saucer by startled citizens of Gary and other towns, but he kept closely locked within himself the secret of his 1951 encounter on the road. Persons who reported real flying saucers were ridiculed, and Bailey wanted none of this. He was a respectable and employed citizen, and he didn't want to jeopardize his reputation or career. But he kept thinking back to the strange craft, the odd helmeted men, and the questions they had asked him. Where are you from? Where are you going? The incident seemed to make no sense at all. Besides the continuing puzzlement in his mind, Bailey's life changed in other respects. His former vitality, energy, and vibrant health were gone. He began to experience stomach trouble, symptoms which doctors found vague and undiagnosable, which were real and painful to him. He was drafted into the Army in 1952 and served 2 years. During this time, the stomach pains continued intermittently, although Bailey tried several times to tell doctors at sick call what was troubling him. They did little more than prescribe Maalox and send him back to duty. By 1954, Bailey was out of the Army and back at work in the steel mills of Gary. Life was good. He had 8 years seniority with the company and all the advertising promotions he could handle on vacations and weekends. He found, however, that he had to change his walking habits considerably because he was tired and often ill. He went repeatedly to the doctor and always was told that nothing was wrong, that his trouble was merely a quote-unquote nervous stomach. By the late 1950s, he rolled his tire only for special occasions, for a favored candidate during an election, for safety campaigns in the steel mills, and for the fight on organized crime in America. Oh, that's an odd thing to advertise for.
Right.
Yeah, that is.
Because that's a good way to get shot, it seems.
Yeah, don't.
Especially outside of Chicago
Just
somewhere.
leave the mafia alone.
Yeah.
The FBI will figure it out.
You
Don't
know,
worry.
UNICEF, Red Cross, do it
Union,
right.
but don't
Yeah.
be like, let's get the mafia. Not good.
Yeah.
Just leave it to, was it Hoover, right?
Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, leave it to him.
His
That one.
illness was now so serious that doctors at Hines Veterans Administration Hospital in Illinois decided to operate. Don't know what it is, but you decided to cut. Doctors.
Times you got
Yeah, experimental.
In 1963, Bailey underwent surgery, ostensibly for gallbladder trouble. The surgery was simple enough, but a few days later, according to Bailey, one of the doctors who had performed the operation asked him, "What's the matter with you?" "What do you mean?" Bailey said. "What's going on inside your body?" Jesus Christ, you're the fucking doctor.
Yeah, fuck you, Dr. Dickhead. Like, you're the one that should be figuring this out, not me.
Wow.
Okay.
Bailey was confused by the question. "I don't know," he said. "Don't lie to me," the doctor shouted. "We've been through your records. You've been somewhere or something has gone through your body you're not telling us about. What is it?"
Oh, no.
All Bailey could do was stare at him in amazement. I don't know, he protested. What the fuck is going on? Were you in an experiment?
the
Were you
vaguest
with Reed Richards in
conversation-
space
right.
getting
I don't-
bombarded by cosmic rays?
Yeah, this is like not what you want to hear from a doctor.
No.
No.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And they're pissed at you because they don't get it.
I hope this isn't the height of 19 whatever
63 medicine.
Jesus fuck.
It might well be.
What's wrong with you? You tell me.
I don't know. How did any of our grandparents and parents survive? It's a miracle.
Cigarettes.
There it is.
Just-
Whiskey and cigarettes. It's called preservation.
Yeah, exactly. That nicotine just holds your body together.
It's like salting meat.
Yeah,
Except that you're
exactly.
organs.
Yeah.
Just fucking binds you.
It's fucked up. Later, other doctors at the hospital asked him some of the same questions, sometimes in the presence of other doctors, sometimes alone. Finally, they brought in Bailey's wife and told her that he was in, quote, very, very bad shape, end quote. Bailey claims the doctor said that his internal organs were 3 times older than they should have been for his age, which at the time was 35. They asked her what had happened to him in his lifetime to make him age in that manner. When she told them where her husband worked, what kind of food he ate, the kind of clothes he wore, and what his other habits were, the doctors remained unsatisfied. Finally, they asked her if Bailey drank alcoholic beverages. She told them that her husband was a teetotaler. He didn't smoke or use narcotics either. Finally, Bailey told investigators years later, the doctors put down illness unknown on my medical report. During my stay in the hospital in 1963, my mind often went back to the object I'd seen out in the woods and when the people thought they had seen me coming out of a flying ship. Could this have been a real UFO? Could I have gotten too close to it? Could my illness be a flying saucer disease?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, that makes sense now.
There it is.
After his surgery, Bailey tried hard to regain his health, but his body would not respond. He was retired from the steel mills in 1966 on a disability pension, and soon after that he began to speak openly about his 1951 encounter. He took to advertising in newspapers in a desperate effort to elicit information from others who might have had this same type of illness. When his advertisements got no response, he began to fear that he was unique. Maybe he was the only person in the world who had ever suffered physical problems after a close encounter with a UFO. And how lonely and isolating must that be?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
don't
kinda
have the
blows.
same kind of literature. You don't have thousands of books out.
No, there's no
I mean,
support group, nothing.
by 66, it's definitely more prolific than 51.
Right.
But you still don't have, right now, anyone that feels bad after a bizarre encounter, you just go to the internet, you can go to a dozen resources and
Yeah,
be like,
for sure.
okay. And somebody, it might not be accurate, but there's going to be somebody there that tried to help you get to the bottom of it.
You can go to Reddit, you can go to wherever.
There's a lot of places. But then
Reddit.
it's a lonely world when something
Jesus
weird
Christ.
happened.
Yeah.
Or perhaps his illness had not been caused by proximity to a flying saucer. Was he wrong? Was it all a series of incredible coincidences? At least he's trying to be kind of rational. Bailey knew in his heart this was not the answer. Fuck that. The problems were very real indeed. As real as the object he had seen in the woods, as real as the strange men who had stood at the window and stared at him from across the highway, as real as the questions they had flung at him across the mild September air. Yes, he knew. He found he could bear the uncertainty and the discouragement, but what hurt most was the ridicule from friends and strangers alike, and the occasional quote-unquote human interest articles written by unfeeling reporters, human interest being synonymous in this instance with derisive humor. The sometimes indifferent, sometimes patronizing letters he received from various government agencies he contacted were even more infuriating. It is a classic example of how tough it is to come out and be honest. Yes, we're going to break it down and we're going to try to figure out, where this guy's coming from. And there's going to be alternate perspectives, but regardless, you can't help but feel a deep pang of empathy for anyone that is doing their best to tell what is, at least in my mind, their truth. And just
for
finding
sure.
deaf ears left and right. It's infuriating is the word. Then on April 24, 1975, he placed an ad in the Los Angeles Times, one of the largest daily newspapers in the United States. His ad urged any reader who had information concerning flying saucer disease to contact the Reverend Harrison E. Bailey, associate minister at the New Salem Baptist Mission Church in Pasadena, California. So obviously a career change was in order, and faith was what happened. Several days later, he appeared on the Mickey and Teddy Show, a local television talk program. As a result, serious people finally heard of Bailey and responded to his plea. Because of the ad and the television appearance, I came to know the Reverend Bailey. Now, of course, remember, we're reading Ann Druffel's excellent words. What a wonderful account. So, and as I mentioned in the introduction, this is how they came into contact with each other. In my capacity as representative for the Mutual UFO Network and the Center for UFO Studies, MUFON and QFOS respectively, I initiated an investigation of Bailey's alleged experience. I was interested in the possibility that Bailey's memory of the encounter had been blocked in some manner, and therefore he had no conscious answers to such questions as why the encounter had occurred or what the motives of the helmeted men might have been. He also wondered why the time had seemed to pass so quickly that day. When Bailey and I studied a map of Illinois, we were trying to identify the small railroad town where Bailey had spent the night after slogging through the rain for hours after his sighting. The lines which denoted the highways of Illinois between Chicago and Joliet spoke clearly, if mutely. Obviously, at least 6 hours were missing from his life. It had been Bailey's custom to walk swiftly and surely at a rate of 4 to 5 miles an hour during his walking tours. He estimated that the walk from South Chicago through Orland Park had taken 4 or 5 hours. Passing through Orland Park, he remembered clearly that he still had about 25 miles to walk to Joliet. Ordinarily, he could have traveled that distance in 6 to 7 hours, even allowing time for lunch. Looking at the map, Bailey determined that the small railroad town where he had slept in the depot might possibly have been Mokena, Illinois. The town of Mokena is about 15 miles from Orland Park. It had taken Bailey from 11 o'clock in the morning until long after sunset to travel that distance. In an effort to explore the time lapse associated with his September 24, 1951 sighting, Dr. Bill McCall, a California physician specializing in family practice, regressed Bailey hypnotically on June 6, 1977.
Oh, the old hypnotic regression.
Dr. McCall uses hypnotic techniques in the course of his practice to assist in the diagnosis and treatment of certain illnesses and physical malfunctions. The information obtained in this fashion from Bailey's hidden memories proved both gratifying and disturbing. It answered numerous questions about the man's experience and supplied corroborative facts, which strengthened Bailey's conscious account. But it also brought out additional surprising facets of the sighting, which have raised new, intriguing questions about the presence of the silvery gray ship and its helmeted occupants. For hidden in Bailey's subconscious mind were the details of an encounter that is almost unique in UFO experience. Thus ends part 1 of Andruffle's article.
Oh, shit.
And part 1 of our episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the hypnotic regression thing, we've talked about this before, and we'll obviously get into it next
we will.
episode. It definitely throws up red flags.
Opens up a lot of things. And we're going to deal with both sides of it.
Okay, yeah. No,
I mean, we emphasize a lot, and rightfully so, just how dangerous it is, how susceptible some people are to suggestion, how it can be misused easily. I think the Zanfretta case is a classic example of how hypnotists were just full on invested in like fucking just telling their own goddamn stories while someone else is probably making up their own story, and it becomes this conflation of fuckery.
Yeah.
Whether or not he was ever abducted.
They put that dude under like 40 times. They just kept
every
putting
time
him under.
It really was. Every couple hours. Hey,
did you watch Three's Company last week? I'm not sure. Get the watch.
There you go.
Get under.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least with the ending of this part 1 here, at least Harrison here actually has people that are going to be checking this out. I mean, it sucks to think that he had to go that long without getting any answers. You have doctors screaming at you, and at least now you finally got someone from MUFON and CUFOS who are going to look into it to be like, all right, what do we have here? So he's going to hopefully get some answers.
But that could also be equally dangerous because while the doctors are going to be hyper skeptical and just be like, fuck you, even if they're just being mad at him, even if they just think he's trying to like get out of work or something, and they don't even know about the UFO aspect of it all. They're just like whatever, and they're jerks. But the other side really wants to believe, and they're super invested in the reality of UFOs. Now I don't know if it's so much the way it works now. I don't even know. I don't believe CUFOS even exist anymore. But
and MUFON had a lot of troubles recently.
Yes.
So yeah, they're
But back then, it might have been invested with a lot of true believers. So it could go either way.
Yeah.
But the thing I was going to say about hypnosis is that just because it's shady as fuck, just because I would not find it to be a way to find a super reliable narrative, if it was the only method at my disposal to try to elicit new information from somebody that just frankly couldn't dig any deeper into their consciousness, it sometimes might reveal tidbits that can lead to grander truths. I don't.
Yeah.
When we were kids, hypnosis, like the way quicksand was portrayed as a ubiquitous and universal threat that we all faced every time we stepped off a sidewalk.
Yep.
Hypnosis was displayed as an ultimate truth serum. No matter
That
what
was
you
the
saw
deal.
or experienced
Yeah.
in your life, it was locked in your mind, like 100% photographically accurate, and all it took was a gold watch or fucking, some other spinning device to elicit said information
Yes.
verbatim the way it fucking happened. Obviously, that's a big pile of fucking dookie. We know that, but it doesn't mean that some truth can't be pulled out through that method.
Do you guys remember our local Holiday Inn here for the longest time? Every couple of months would have the hypnosis session to quit smoking.
My mom went to that.
No.
I think I was in my 20s and I was trying to quit smoking because I was one of those super awesome kids that started smoking at 12. That's fucking gross.
Hey, dumpsters and ding dongs,
Yeah.
but the Mark Store story.
Dumpsters and ding dongs. The cigarettes and Mark Store. What a fucking... someone's got to make that book cover. And I'm
My
like,
fast 6 hours.
yeah, dumpsters and ding dongs. But I was close to actually going to check that out. I mean, what's funny is I was just more afraid of it. Like, I can't be hypnotized because it's, like, some ungodly truth's going to appear and it's just going to be... It's going to be awful. Just trauma pouring out of me trying to quit smoking. It's just not going to be good.
Like a line gets crossed, you don't even know. Like
Yeah.
when people act like fucking chickens on stage or whatever those like Vegas style fucking roadshow bullshit hypnotists do.
Yeah.
It seems to be like they're doing it like for real, but
You
then
know?
I guess anyone can be susceptible.
I don't know, man.
There's a classic story. I don't remember all the details of it. I'm sure some of our listeners do, but say turn of the century. And this guy was with this Arab tribe, and I believe he represented the British, because why not? The British were trying to take over every part of the world at all times. And they weren't heroes, but that's who they were. And they were trying to convince this tribe that had all the power in the area that they needed to work with him or whatever. So one dude who apparently was good at hypnotism told the strongest guy in this Arab tribe, like, you can't lift this box. And he lifted the box and showed him, it's my box. I have the power. You can't do it. And through the power of suggestion, evidently, I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, but I've heard the story from a few different sources. This super strong, badass motherfucker couldn't lift the fucking box because the suggestion had been planted somehow firmly in his head.
I've seen that. Just people just not being able to pick up a cup or something.
Right.
Like, yeah. I've
Right.
seen
So
that.
there is something to, I guess, the malleability of the human mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it helps you get access to memories. Because here's the truth of it, leaving that like a quasi-apocryphal story in the dust because it really doesn't matter. We don't remember shit accurately at all.
I know.
We are
No.
fucking nightmares of perception. As often is pointed out, but is not pointed out often enough, in my opinion, we only exist. Our senses only serve two purposes: to help us fucking eat so we can survive and procreate. Those are the only things. Our minds don't exist to be accurate chroniclers of the pop culture and minutia and history in which the era we exist so we can pass it on authentically, because we're some great organic computer that's designed to preserve the legacy of the human race.
No, we're animals.
Yeah, we're fucking jizz dropping meat eaters, and it doesn't fucking matter. So the fact that we have these lofty aspirations is great and noble, and hell, I aspire to a lot of them myself. But that's not how fucking memory works. That's not what it's for. And just because you have someone fucking accessing it doesn't mean it's any more, even if it is 100% authentic in your perspective, doesn't mean that's how that shit went down at all.
Dude, dumpsters and ding dongs, dude. There
Truth.
it is.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the
especially fucking like 20 years later or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
And it's been haunting him. And some shit might have happened. I think some shit did happen.
Oh, no, he definitely experienced
And by the
something.
way, to Harrison E. Bailey, shit happens. Like, when we get to the hypnotic shit, it's going to be fucking
yeah.
wild.
No, I'm sure.
And that's not where it ends.
No,
it continues on into the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Madness. So part 2 is going to be even more fucking
All
fun.
right, well, be sure to stick around for part 2, The Wild World of Harrison Bailey. Thank you all so very much for joining us, the Cryptonaut podcast. We are on the social medias. We are on the Instas and the Twitters and the Facebook. We have a Facebook fan group. And it just so
we do.
happens that we have 2 birthdays to celebrate
What?
in that Facebook fan group. First here, we have Robert Thompson. Now, Robert is actually, he is the dude that
The founder.
started
Yeah.
this. Like, randomly, I got a message on Facebook like, hey, I'm starting this fan group for your podcast. I'm like, holy shit, people like us enough to start a fan
I
group?
remember when you sent me that.
Yeah, it was the most fucking bizarre thing ever. So happy birthday, Robert. And thank you
Happy
so
fucking
very much.
birthday, Robert.
Our fearless Facebook leader, if you will.
No
Thank you,
doubt.
Robert. We appreciate that. And our buddy Zach Clue.
Zach Clue.
Yeah, he was early on in the Facebook group. So
Like
Zach,
forever.
happy birthday. My
yes.
dude.
Happy birthday, Zach. back.
Yeah, definitely. And also, too, speaking of the Facebook group and a good friend of the show, Mr. Matt Drew. Actually, this week,
hell yeah.
Oh, shit.
he sent us this awesome fucking box.
What a
did.
care package.
I'm literally pointing to a pile of books, and then he sent us beard guards, too, for like masks
the
and shit.
Odin guard or whatever
I
that is.
love it.
Yeah, the super safe beard thing, which is super cool. And yeah, thank you so very much, Matt. And
what a
also,
great load! Thank you, Matt. As ever, your contributions are appreciated, and these gifts are fucking awesome. I love
Yeah.
Jeff Robin. I'm so excited about the Steger book. Yes, there will be pods coming from the awful thing in the attic.
Yeah, for sure.
Very excited about this book.
When I pulled
Thank you,
when
Matt.
I pulled that out and I read the awful thing in the attic, I'm like, oh, this is.
I always love Brad Steger.
This is gonna be dope. And then the monster and the robot and the alien, the encyclopedias he sent from.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, no,
for
they're
pop
super
culture
dope.
nerds like us. Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
no, that's awesome. We're definitely going to put those in the archive. So thank you so very much, Mr. Matt Drew. Patreon is in that we offer, patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out, $5 is a shout out, and some bonus audio. Thank you to everybody over there that supports us. Oh, Patreon recently updated their app, at least for iOS, for the iPhone. And it's much easier to use. So if you are on our Patreon and you're using that app, be sure to update it. And if you have any issues, there's a bunch of really cool troubleshooting things in there for like the RSS feed. So I highly recommend everybody check that out. It is super dope. We have T-shirts, Robert.
Fuck yeah, we do.
Christopher, we have hoodies.
Fucking hoodies.
Hoodies are back.
Specific hoodies.
Limited.
To only the shit that looks really good on a hoodie.
Yes. And I've been in contact with TeePublic a couple of times, going over some things for the hoodies and just some, random T-shirt things. So we have a new rep, and they are totally on it. It's awesome. I actually just got an email from them, so thank you very much. And yeah, hellerspace.com. Get yourself some merch. I am currently wearing the Cryptonaut Podcast River Gnomes. What was it, like the Boys of Summer edition? Or
Yeah,
the Hobie?
It's the Hobie.
It's the Hobie one.
variant.
I like it.
The Hobie variant. So, real quick pro tip from Mark here. I've washed this thing 7 times. This is what I do when I wash my shirts, specifically, because I know some people have issues. Wash them in cold water, hang dry them. If for some reason you have an issue with your shirt, TeePublic has a holy shirt guarantee, where if you got a problem with your shirt, you contact them and they will send you a replacement for free. I have used this specifically more times than I would like to admit to.
Wow.
I might have a third
Nice.
hoodie on the way.
That's great, though.
Just saying, if there are any problems, they will take care of it. Make sure that you let us know about that, though, because it's important
Absolutely.
that we
You
all
don't want it
get on
to
the
fall
same
apart
page.
that quick.
Totally.
Though I have to admit, the cracked, shitty iron-on look of like an overly washed T-shirt is one of my favorite aesthetics. But I would still want another free shirt that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things crack. I get it. If it's like 2 or 3 years, I understand. But I've been doing test runs. I have an entire laboratory set up with my
Right.
fucking TeePublic
Yeah.
T-shirts.
No, you
okay?
need it to
Chemistry,
be,
dude.
You need it to
Chemistry.
be natural wear. You can't
Yeah.
like accelerate it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want it for 2 weeks.
No,
Like, I want to enjoy the
no,
newness.
Exactly.
But thankfully, TeePublic is very good at taking care of these things, and we appreciate that they are on the ball with that. So there you have it, gentlemen. The Cryptonaut Podcast, Part 1, The Wild World of Harrison Bailey. Boom. Stop back next week for Part 2.
Hell
Bye and see you next week and stay on the road and
Stay on the road.
Stay on the road.
I've
Stay on
never
the
heard that.
road
That
and-
sounds like something that you should hear all the time.
Yeah.
Go ahead, be safe, stay on the road. But I've
road.
never heard anyone ever actually say that.
Yeah, stay on
no
the
one's
road.
ever said fucking,
Is
hey,
that-
get there, have fun, stay on the road, fuckface.
Is that like your secret cry for help because I've admitted to you both off pod that I'm losing my sight?
Yeah, that's scary.
well, that's a whole new level of meaning. But yeah,
Is that what that is?
stay on the
You
fucking
really
road.
need to see an optometrist, dude.
My aging eyes are my eyes are dying.
No,
They're
they're
dead.
not.
No,
It's
my
called
eyes
fucking
are
getting
dead.
old. Oh my god, I've worn glasses since I was 11.
We have to have a funeral
I
for
didn't
my
have
eyes.
funerals for my eyes in middle school.
You should have.
Mark
Yes,
is being
I
a
know.
fucking eye boomer.
You really are.
Like fucking
Wow.
big time, and you all need to shame him
Yeah.
when
yeah.
this comes out
Please,
for not getting glasses.
please jump on Twitter and shame me for not getting glasses.
Fuck's sake.
Also, too, my torn meniscus is getting worse, and I'll be addressing that soon.
Oh
so
my fucking god.
I have insurance for that. So there you have it. Thank you all so very much, and we're talking to you soon.
Goodbye. Get glasses if you need them.
Stay on the road.
Unlike Mark and stay on the fucking road. If you can fucking see it with your non-glasses.
Dude, maybe it wasn't a mule or a donkey, man. Maybe it was something else. What if it was a baby bat squatch that looked like it, but I couldn't tell? That's why the kids were scared and they ran, and that's why I gave it the feed.
Maybe you made friends with a bat squash with a bag
No,
of feed.
it made friends of me. It commanded me, and I obeyed.
Oh boy.
Shit.
All right.
Gotta go to war.
Yeah.
Again.
Or the optometrist.
Didn't want.
Oh.
That is the war, the optometrist.
Ah, you're the great war.
See ya.